gentlemen, happy Friday. Welcome to my YouTube channel and welcome to today's video. As you can see on the screen today, this is who we want to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the passing of Jerry Springer, and we're gonna talk about this article that I'm about to read to you, credited to the New York Times. For this article, I'm gonna read you all this article out loud, and then after I'm done reading it, I'm gonna give you my perspective, and I'm gonna give you some great moments and talk about Jerry Springer's career. So let's get to it. Jerry Springer, host of a Raucous TV show, is dead at 79. The confrontational Jerry Springer Show ran for nearly 3 decades and became a cultural phenomenon. Mr. Springer also had a career in politics. The picture is below is Jerry Springer in 2009. His psychotic TV show, The Jerry Springer Show, ran for nearly 3 decades. Jerry Springer, who went from a so-what outlandish political career to an almost indescribably outlandish broadcast career with The Jerry Springer Show, which by the mid-1990s was setting a new standard for tawdriness on American television, turning the talk show format into an arena for shocking confessions, adultery, feud, screaming matches, and not infrequent fistfights. Died on Thursday in a suburban Chicago. He was 79. His death after a brief illness was confirmed in a statement by Jane Galvin, a family friend and an exclusive producer for Mr. Springer's podcast. Mr. Springer earned a law degree from Northwestern University in 1968 and started on a political career winning election to the Connecticut City Council in 1971. But he was soon embroiled in the type of personal scandal that would later fuel his talk show. He resigned in 1974. Hold on, you guys. Sorry about that, you guys. After he was found to have written a check for prostitution services at a Kentucky mistress parlor. But Mr. Springer was nothing if not resilient. He was re-elected to the council in 1975. One of his comeback speeches nodded to the prostitution controversy. "A lot of you don't know anything about me," he said, according to the Connecticut Inquiry. "But I'll tell you one thing you do know. My credit is good." And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a picture of Mr. Jerry Springer in 1974 during his time in politics at a conversation of restaurant operators in Connecticut. He was elected mayor of Connecticut in 1977. And in 1982, he ran for governor of Ohio, addressing the prostitution incident fervently in a campaign advertisement. The next governor is going to have to take some heavy risk and face some hard truths, he said. "I'm prepared to do that. This commercial should be proof. I'm not afraid even of the truth, and even if it hurts." He finished third in the Democratic primary and made a career change in joining the WLW TV in Connecticut. First as a news commentator, he later became an anchor and managing editor. Over the next decade, he won or shared multiple Emmy Awards for local coverage. The Jerry Springer Show, a daytime show syndicated by Multimedia Entertainment, which owned the WLWT, began in 1991. Originally, it was an issue-oriented program. The Los Angeles Times called it an oppressively self-important talk hour starring a Connecticut news anchorman and former mayor. By 1993, however, leads in like worshiping the Lord with snakes. Next, Jerry Springer were turning up and shock value just kept going. A 1995 episode featuring a young man named Raymond, whom Mr. Springer was helping to lose his virginity, offering him 5 young women hidden by a screen to choose from. Raymond's friend Woody accompanied him. Woody doesn't know it. His 18-year-old virgin sister is one of the contestants. A scroll told viewers. The talk show universe had by then became something of a free-for-all, with hosts like Montel Williams and Sally Jesse Raphael also serving up the scandalous content. Mr. Springer, though, did it better and more outrageously than anyone else. His viewership peaked at about 8 million in 1998. And this, ladies and gentlemen, this is, pictures of the Jerry Springer Show and the security guards, separating the guests and this and that, the third. And this picture right here, this is Mr. Jerry Springer in 1998 on the set of his talk show. That year, his viewership peaked at 8 million. Why is it so outrageous that people who aren't famous talk about their private lives? Once he said, it's like it's okay if it's good-looking people talk about who they slept with, but please, if you are ugly, we don't want to hear about it. The Jerry Springer Show ran for nearly 3 decades, ending in 2018 after more than 3,000 episodes. No matter what sort of drama had taken place in front of the studio audience as well as viewers, turning in from home, Mr. Springer ended each segment with a signature sign-off: take care of yourself and each other. Gerald Norman Springer was born on February 13, 1944 in London in an underground station that was being used as a bomb shelter during the World War II. It's not as dramatic as it sounds, but he told Chicago Tribune in 2007, because of bombing, women who were in their 9th month were told to sleep in the subway stations, which were set up as a maternity wards. His family relocated in the United States when he was 5. In a commencement speech at the Northwestern in 2008, Mr. Springer evoked that moment of arrival. In silence, all the ship's passengers gathered on the top deck of his Grand Ocean liner as we passed by the Statue of Liberty. I can't talk today. He said, my mom told me in later years, I was 5 at the time, that we were shivering in the cold, and I had asked her, what are we looking at? What does the statue mean in German? She replied, "Ein Tag alles, one day, everything." Mr. Springer earned a bachelor's degree in political science at the Tulane University in 1965. He worked at the WTUL, the campus station, and over the years he worked check-in from time to time. It was my first job in broadcasting, he said in a message to the station in 2009 to mark its 50th anniversary, and it's been downhill ever since. After Tulane, he went to Northwestern Law School. In 1967, he took a job as a summer clerk at a law firm in Connecticut. It was his first exposure to the city that would play an important role in his life. The next year, he took time off from his law studies to work on Robert F. Kennedy presidential campaign, but he completed his degree after Mr. Kennedy was assassinated. Mr. Springer returned to his family home in New York without any particular plans. When the Connecticut firm where he had spent a summer called with an offer for a full-time job, he took it. This is Mr. Springer in his dressing room before a taping of the Jerry Springer Show. I had to do something to get my life moving again, he told the Connecticut Post in 1977. He quickly became involved in the local politics, impressing the city of the Democratic leaders in 1970. He ran for Congress, losing but drawing 44% of the vote, much better than expected. A year later, he was on the city council. Mr. Springer's talk show brought him enough fame, and he had a side gig as an actor, turning up in episodes of Married with Children, Roseanne, The X-Files, and other shows, generally playing a version of himself. He also a contestant on Dancing with the Stars and The Masked Singer for a time with a host of America's Got Talent. In 2005, he began Springer on Radio, a serious left-leaning political show on Air America. It lasted for about 2 years. Information of his survivors was not immediately available. In 2008, some students objected when Mr. Springer were invited to give the commencement address at the Northwestern. To the students who invited me, thank you, he said. I am honored to the students who object me to my presence. Well, you got a point. I, too, would have chosen someone else. I've been lucky enough to enjoy a comfortable measure of success in my various career, he added. But let's be honest, I've been virtually everything you can't respect: a lawyer, a mayor, a major market, news anchor, and a talk show host. Pray for me. If I get to heaven, we're all going. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of this article. Thank you all for reading with me and staying with me along this time, even though I barely could speak. But I really want to thank you all. And so now, stay tuned for my comments, my perspective, and my opinions. Thank you. Hello, YouTube. This is DeAndre Dobbs. Happy Friday, April the 28th, 2023. I'm back with another YouTube video. And as you can see from the article, if you all that just saw, I had read an article to you all on who the person that we're going to be talking about, the legendary Jerry Springer, who passed away yesterday morning at the age of 79. He lost his battle with cancer. And, when I first saw, a friend of mine sent me this. And when I saw, I was shocked. I didn't want to believe it because this is Jerry Springer. Like, he is one of the greatest. He's a phenomenon. He's one of the greatest. Like, Jerry Springer, he's a legend in my book. And to me, let me tell you something. One thing I can tell you about Jerry Springer, he's a cultural person. Like, he was welcome into everyone's television, on everyone's television screens. He was welcome into everyone's home. And, it just goes to show you this man, he was a remarkable person, because I I watch his show. I watched his show over the years. Ever since I was a little kid, I watched his show. I still watch his show, but I rather, if I had to choose, I'd rather watch the '90s episodes than the upper episodes in the 2000s, because they were just that good. They were just wonderful. They was classics because you know he he just, to me, he broke down barriers. He opened a lot of doors for a bunch of peoples, in my view. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. The one and only Jerry Springer. Rest in peace, Jerry. Okay, so let's get started, you guys. Jerry Springer, he was born on February the 13th, 1944. And as you can see, if you all was following me when I read the article, I'm just going to tell you what I know from the article. He started his show in 1991. But before he started his show in 1991, he was in politics, that you saw in the article. Credit to New York Times for their article and for everything. Credit for New York Times and that article. He, he was in politics, and he graduated, he got his degree in broadcasting, and he got another degree. And he got that in 1968. He got one of them in 1968, and he got another one or something else in 1971, as you saw in the article. And in the 1974, it is said that he didn't get the other win an election because of something that has something to do with prostitution, but that's not really what we come here to talk about. I'm just here to talk about the legendary Jerry Springer and all the wonderful things that this man has done. And let me tell you, I think it is good that this man, Jerry Springer, had the show, and he was in politics, and he was a Democratic, which is better. Because let me tell you something. Jerry Springer seems like the type of man that he didn't give two F's about what anybody said about him. But he spoke his truth. He done his thing. He did what he needed to do. And so I applaud Jerry for that. I applaud him for doing what he needed to do. But it is said in 1998, when he was still doing his Jerry Springer show, that show made or grossed $8 million. Because that's how big the show was. Also, aside from Jerry Springer, he was an actor too. He played in a movie. Ringmaster. He played in a bunch of stuff. Like I said, The X-Files, Married with Children. He just started on the Wayne Bros. I'm gonna tell you, Jerry Springer, he basically, to me, I'm gonna be honest with you. Forgive me, y'all. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Comment below. But correct me if I'm wrong. For those of you that watched it, Jerry Springer, to me, I believe most of his audience were black. I'm not trying to make this a racial thing. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just being honest. But when you kind of think about it, his fans were mostly black. Because those are the peoples like us blacks. Those are the peoples that you mostly hear talking about, Jerry Springer. You know what I'm saying? Because, the fan base, because that's what a lot of people were tuning in. I know a lot of my family watched Jerry Springer. I watched Jerry Springer. We talked about Jerry Springer all the time. Because like I said, Jerry Springer, he was one of a kind. But it's good that it grossed 8 million. And I'm going to tell you something else. And it is said, when he was little, he grew up, he was born in London. And they stayed up under this, I think it said he stayed up under the subway or something. His family, they was just staying under something in London from the article. I don't want to get it wrong, but I'm just going to put it where I don't want to make it sound bad. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you got, he was staying in London and when he was little. And it is said that, in the interview, he said, if the women was 9 months pregnant, they'll have to sleep under the subway, like for maternity clause or something like that. But Jerry Springer, his show would be remembered. He would be remembered as a legend. He would be remembered as Unc. He would be remembered as a man that was invited to the cookout if it was possible, because he was one of a kind. But his show will always be known from shocking confessions, adultery, and all this stuff. Because, let me tell you something. When you kind of think about it, the Jerry Springer show, it was basically, if you all ever watched it like I did and followed it like I did, it was basically, they have these guests, they were either transgender or gay or any part of the Black and LGBTQ community, or any community, that would, come on the show. And it was so funny. I laughed my behind off. Like, I watched some clips last night, but I'm going to watch some more soon. Because Jerry Springer, he was one of a kind. He had me laughing. But what I loved about Jerry Springer, don't forget them fights. And somebody get the fight. Jerry. Yep. And then that bell will ring, and then people be tearing up their shirts and stuff. Let me see. Jerry Springer, he was down to earth. And about that show, and at the end, he will bring a final thought. He would bring a final thought. And at the end, forgive me, y'all. And at the end, it'll be some good wisdom and some good inspiration and all of that. It'll be some good wisdom and good inspiration and everything. And I truly loved that about Jerry Springer. Because he really, he was there for the mess, He was there for the mess, he was there for the tea, the drama, because that's what his show was built off of. And what I loved about Jerry Springer, like, he'll let anyone, come on his show, no matter what. Even though people said that it wasn't real, it's scripted. Say what you want, even if it was scripted or not. You can't say that show was not good, because it was amazing. This show was simply amazing. Hold on, you guys. Okay, I'm back, you guys. I have to fix my camera. But like what I was saying, say what you want. A lot of people say, that's scripted. That ain't real. Real or not, it was still a good show. And to this day, a bunch of people still watch it. I still watch it because I love the show. And you got to think about it. Jerry Springer, he was one of a kind. He earned his degrees. He earned his degrees. He had jobs. And he had the show, Jerry Springer, that aired from 1991 to 2018. So that is good as well. It stayed on the air for 27 years. And other reality TV shows TV show hosts tried to do it as well. But Jerry Springer did most of these topics and um, things in a way that was very unique. Yeah. So if you all would just, and it's just, he had fist fights as well. Because, to me, Jerry Springer, his death, it hits hard. It hits hard still to me because, I didn't want to believe it because Jerry Springer, he was one of a kind. Listen, anytime when you got all sorts of peoples around the world posting about, his death on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, you got it made. Because everybody was sad about Jerry Springer. I'm sad about Jerry Springer still. I'm sad about Jerry Springer than I am about that. You know what? I'm going to say that for a part 2 video after this one. But, yeah, Jerry Springer, he will forever be missed. So, he's best known for, having these wonderful topics and these segments and stuff, peoples of the LGBTQ community. And that's another thing. My thing is, to me, this is just my opinion. His show was basically based off that. It was basically based off, the LGBTQ community. It's based off that, and it's based off people's getting cheated on, drama and stuff, like the mama sleeping with her daughter's boyfriend, the dad is sleeping with his son's girlfriend, and it's just a lot. And then you know what? And then you got these people's coming on the show. I gotta tell you something. I've been living a secret. And they'll be like, I'm not a woman, or I'm not a man. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, this when I was little, this is what they used to have. And they used to do that fighting and stuff and all that arguing. And I used to be like, why y'all gonna come on national TV and do this stuff? Like, is this stuff real? That's how I was. That's how I looked at it. Like, is this real? Or is it just entertainment? But either or, it was very good. So, I know I don't have much on Jerry Springer, but let me tell you this. I enjoyed his show. He was a wonderful, kind person and human being. And he will forever be missed. So, there will be my video. You all like, comment, subscribe, and I will be back. And I'm going to be back with a part 2 in just a couple of minutes, y'all. I'm going to be back with a part 2 in just a couple of minutes. So it might be 2 videos uploading a day. So that I'm going to be doing today. The Jerry Springer video and another video that I'm going to do for y'all. Now, if I didn't say all my stuff for Jerry Springer, I will add it in when I edit. But I just want to say like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back with another video as soon as possible. And I would like to say this on behalf of Jerry Springer because I feel like he would like it. Till next time, take care of yourself and each other. Y'all have a wonderful day. Happy Friday. Bye-bye. Rest in peace, Jerry Springer, 1944 to 2023. You will forever be in our hearts and will forever be welcome in our TV screens, on our TV screens, and will forever be a legendary person and talk person and TV show host and judge. Rest in peace, King.